Okay. Right, so that should be done. Okay, so the stream's now correct. So let's follow the AI guidance. Looking at the rooms, obviously being a demo and pre-alpha, the rooms really haven't got much in them. Otherwise, I suspect they'll probably be what's the word I'm looking for? Procedurally generated. Yeah. Oh, I have to go through this door. You can run in this game. Yeah, as I say, this game has a lot of inspiration from the Star Trek franchise. You can just tell looking at that core.
As you can see, the reactor is offline, and none of the ship's systems are powered. Our first task is to provide power to the engineering decks, so let's make our way to the start capacitor's room.
Okay.
Follow the waypoints on your HUD to the startup distributor.
It's nice they've put this level of detail into it. I can imagine if they actually get to the end, they this game will probably be pretty quite in depth. Drills. Yeah.
As
Okay.
its name suggests, the startup distributor routes energy from the start capacitors to the engineering decks, and also provides the reactor with the power it needs to create the initial fusion reaction. You'll notice the device is already powered because the start capacitors are fully charged. Let's go ahead and get some lights on by connecting all of the breakers. Start with the G-deck breakers, as indicated. And now the F-deck breakers. And finally, the reactor supply itself. Excellent, now we can see what we're doing. You can go ahead and turn off your torch by pressing T. The reactor controls should now be online, so let's walk back to the reactor room and take a look.
Okay. I mean, obviously, in ships of the future, a lot of stuff is going to be kind of automated in a way. Okay, or even the doors closed, that's nice. Okay.
This console displays the reactor's vital information and provides you with full control over the reactor and its subsystems. On the left-hand side, we have the coolant section, which shows the liquid helium coolant flow and the condition of the magnetic field coils. On the right-hand side, we have the electrical section, which shows the reactor's main electrical bus, along with its input and output feeds. In the center, we have the reactor's main display, where we can control the fusion reaction itself. As you can see from all of these alarms, it would be impossible to initiate a stable fusion reaction under the current conditions, so let's fix that. The first thing we need to do is supply power to the reactor's internal bus, so go ahead and switch the reactor to startup mode by pressing the indicated button. Great! Now that the reactor has power, we can activate the vacuum pump to start purging the confinement chamber. The chamber pressure should now be dropping. To sustain a fusion reaction, we need an internal pressure of less than 10 nanopascals. While we wait for the confinement chamber to reach its target pressure, let's take care of the reactor's fuel and coolant supplies. Exit the reactor room via the door behind you, and follow the waypoints on your HUD to the cryogenic storage room.
Cryogenic storage. Now, I've been told this is kind of based on scientific principle. So
These storage tanks hold all of the cryogenic fluids that are used to both fuel and cool the reactor. All 4 tanks are currently empty, so our first task is to begin the filling process. Let's start with the helium coolant. Head behind the storage tanks to access the helium cryo cooler.
okay.
The cryo coolers use a process called magnetic refrigeration to convert gas into a cryogenic fluid, before pumping it into the connected storage tank. Start up the helium cryo cooler now. Excellent. Now if you turn around, you'll find the helium refill valve located on the back wall. These valves control the flow of gases harvested by the ship's gas collection hardware, which is located on the underside of the forward hull.
In other words,
Go ahead and
Ramskis.
open the helium supply valve now to begin supplying the cryocooler with helium gas.
Okay, I have done that.
If you turn around again and inspect the display screen connected to the helium tank, you should be able to confirm that the tank is now filling with fluid. We now need to perform the same sequence of events for the other 3 tanks. Helium-3 is the first of 2 fuels used in the fusion reaction. As before, power up the device using its user interface.
Okay. 43 Kelvin. Huh. Yeah, I mean, obviously it is nice to have a certain level of yeah, definitely nice having a certain level of precision when it comes to building models and stuff like that. Right, so I need to press the highlighted button. Which button? Which button?
And now open the helium-3 refill valve behind you to start filling its associated tank. Next, we need to start filling the 2 deuterium tanks, so let's head over to the other side of the room.
I've already beaten them
Deuterium,
to it, by the looks of
also
it.
known as heavy hydrogen, is the second of the 2 fusion fuels. We store double the amount of deuterium compared to helium-3, because deuterium also fuels the reactor's neutral beam injectors. As before, turn on the first deuterium cryocooler, and now the first deuterium refill valve behind you.
Yeah, I kind of
Next,
jumped the gun a
turn on
little
the
bit.
second deuterium cryocooler,
Yeah.
and now the second deuterium refill valve. Okay, perfect. All 4 storage tanks should now be filling with cryogenic fluids. For our next task, we now need to engage the cryopumps in order to start supplying the reactor with everything it needs.
Okay.
Make your way around to the other side of the tanks and locate the deuterium tank outflow valve.
Deuterium tank.
Open the deuterium outflow valve to begin supplying fluid to its connect. Next, power on the pump itself using the button indicated on it. Excellent. That's half of the fuel mix taken care of. Now head over to the helium-3 tank outflow valve so we can complete the fuel. As before, begin by opening the helium-3 outflow valve. And now engage the helium-3. Perfect. All we have to do now is take care of the coolant flow. Now open the helium outflow valve. And finally, power on the helium cryo. There we go. The reactor is now being supplied with all the fuel and coolant it needs. Follow the waypoints back to the reactor room, where we have just a few more valves to open.
Definitely in depth in its design.
To complete the coolant loop, open the helium inflow valve to start flowing coolant through the magnetic field coils. Now make your way around to the opposite side of the reactor. First, open the deuterium inflow valve. And now open the helium-3 inflow valve. Okay, great. Let's head over to the reactor controls and take a look at the coolant display. As you can see, we now have coolant flowing into the reactor. This has begun the process of cooling down the magnetic field coils, which must reach temperatures below 20 Kelvin in order to become superconductive. Once the coils have reached their target temperature, you will be able to engage the magnetic field. Okay, the temperatures look good. You can now power up the field coils.
Yep. Okay.
With a solid vacuum established, the field coils powered up, and fuel flowing into the reactor, you are now free to initiate the fusion reaction.
Okay, that should be interesting.
Congratulations! You have now successfully started the fusion reactor. For safety, the reactor automatically starts up at only 10% of its rated power. This means high-voltage systems, such as the FTL drive, will be underpowered until you increase the reactor output. Let's resolve that now. Increase the power level to 100%. You'll notice that you can increase the power beyond 100%, but doing so for an extended period will overheat the reactor, causing damage and forcing an uncontrolled shutdown. Okay, we now need to provide power to the rest of the ship. With the reactor now powering itself, you can go ahead and switch the internal bus mode from startup to supply. Perfect. If we now head around to the opposite side of the reactor output distributor should now be powered up.
I cannot see inside. Right, let's see.
This device distributes the reactor's output to the ship's high voltage systems, which are in fact the only systems powered directly by the reactor. The rest of the ship is powered by 48 individual battery arrays, which we now need to begin charging using the reactor's output. Go ahead and connect all 5 of the output. Excellent. If you turn to your left, you'll see the 5 high voltage distributors are now coming online. Head over to the main battery distributor. This device takes the high voltage reactor feed and distributes it to each of the 8 battery rooms on F deck. Go ahead and connect all 8 output breakers. Perfect. The battery arrays should now be charging, but we should perform a visual inspection to make sure. Follow the waypoints on your HUD to port battery room 1.
So the actual infrastructure is on the ship and accessible. That's always a good thing.
The electrical supply on Magellan-class starships is divided into 4 isolated quadrants: forward, aft, port, and starboard. For increased redundancy, each quadrant is powered by 2 physically isolated battery rooms just like this one. Should the battery arrays in one room cease to function for any reason, the arrays in the second room will continue providing power to that particular quadrant. Similarly, power to one quadrant can be lost entirely, without impacting the supply to the remaining 3 quadrants. Okay, let's take a look at one of the individual battery arrays. On the left-hand side of the user interface, you have controls for managing the input and output breakers. And in the center, you have controls and information relating to this array's 10 solid-state battery cells. If we did everything correctly, all of the cells should now be slowly charging up. For the next step, we now need to connect each of the 8 battery rooms to the ship's electrical grid. This task will take us into the ship's labyrinth of maintenance tunnels, so be sure to watch your head.
Oh, goody.
Follow the waypoints on your HUD to port battery aggregator 1. Each battery room has a corresponding battery aggregator, just like this one. These devices perform load balancing and also combine each room's 6 individual battery arrays into a single high-voltage feed. Go ahead and connect the output breaker now, which will connect this set of battery arrays to the ship's electrical grid. Okay, 1 down and 7 more to go. Next, head over to port battery aggregator. As before, connect this aggregator's output breaker. That takes care of the port battery rooms. Let's make our way to the forward quadrant next.
Okay. I mean, it looks like the actual ship is to scale as well, which is always a good one. Run. Run, 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 run. Here we go.
Go ahead and connect the output breaker. And the same again on forward battery aggregator 2. Okay, onwards to the starboard quadrant.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, as I say, it seems like the actual
Same again.
ship
Connect the output
is to
breaker.
scale, which is really
And the
good.
second starboard aggregator. Almost done. Just the aft quadrant to go.
Okay.
Connect up the first aft aggregator. And finally, the second aft aggregator. Okay, perfect. All 48 of the ship's battery arrays are now connected to the electrical grid. All we have to do now is supply power to the ship's remaining decks, and then perform a few cleanup tasks. We can do most of that from the reactor room, so let's head there now.
Right, how do we get
Follow
there?
the waypoints on your HUD to the forward deck distributor.
Oh, we're going downstairs. Ooh. Going into the belly of the beast. I don't remember going upstairs. Yeah, okay.
Each deck in a given quadrant is fed by a deck distributor, which takes the total electrical load of that quadrant, and then load balances it between the two connected battery aggregators. Go ahead and connect the output breakers for all 7 decks in this quadrant. Okay, now head over to the starboard deck distributor and do the same.
Yeah, you'd think these would be the same, wouldn't you? All in some location just to make it easier.
And now the aft deck distributor.
What's interesting is those clicks you hear are almost identical to the clicks of a fuse box.
And finally, the
power
port deck
cuts.
distributor.
So it's a nice touch, that.
Perfect. All quadrants on every deck now have power available from the ship's main battery arrays. You'll notice, however, that the ship is still under emergency lighting conditions, because F and G decks are still using the start capacitor's supply. To resolve this, we simply have to switch the 4 quadrant distributors on F and G decks over to the main battery feed. Head over to the G deck forward quadrant distributor. Each deck has 4 of these devices, 1 for each quadrant. They are fed by the corresponding deck distributor. Go ahead and switch this quadrant over to the main battery feed. That's better. Now we can really see what we're doing. Now head over to the starboard quadrant distributor and do the same. And now the aft quadrant distributor. And finally, the port quadrant distributor.
I can imagine in the actual game itself.
That's G deck taken care of. Let's do the same for F deck. Head upstairs to the F deck forward quadrant distributor.
Yeah, I can imagine in the game itself you'll need to know these systems in order to fix problems you have.
As before, switch this, and now the same on the starboard quadrant distributor.
Okay.
And again on the aft quadrant distributor. And finally, the port quadrant distributor. Well done. That's the main objectives of the cold start procedure complete. But we have one final bonus task to perform. Follow the waypoints on your HUD up to the bridge, and we'll make the ship flight ready.
Okay, we're going to the bridge now. Although, the thing is though, I don't think a starship would waste this much space on things like this. This is an awful big waste of space. Okay. Hello. Oh. Excuse me. Okay, so we are... Oh, they have their own little ready room. I mean, again, look at all the space here. And this is their ready room. A command section. On the bridge.
The lights and bridge systems are still turned off, so let's bring everything online. Head over to the A-deck distributor in the engineering alcove.
Yeah, I can imagine this.
Now go ahead and turn on the bridge lighting. And now power up the bridge systems. Okay, there we go. You have successfully started the fusion reactor, routed power to all of the ship's decks, and brought the bridge online into a flight-ready state. This concludes the Magellan-class Cold Start training module. Good luck, and I hope you'll join me again in future training modules.
Cool. Okay, so that was one of the tutorials. As I say, it does look like the ship's systems do look very in-depth. The ship itself is to scale, and by the looks of it, by the time they finish it, will, I'd imagine, be procedurally generated. So let's do the scanning and navigation. They will probably. I'm guessing these guys are probably trying to emulate an actual function of an exploration starship. So you'll have all the sciencey things and stuff like that. Right, so where are we? We are in...
Welcome to the Magemman-class Scanning and Navigation Training Module. My name is Ava, and the UN Space Fleet's AI voice assistant. In this module, we will review the correct procedure for identifying targets of interest, and then navigating the ship to the desired location. To begin, proceed to the ship's bridge. I have placed a waypoint on your HUD to help you find your way.
Okay, so we're going to the bridge.
Welcome to the bridge. This is the ship's nerve center, where you have command and control over any ship system. Right now, we're interested in the science station, so make your way over to that console and take a seat.
Looking at the map alone, that destination is in the heart of the galaxy.
This bridge station is responsible for scanning space around the ship and then highlighting any targets of scientific interest for the command staff. You'll notice that the sensor's UI has 4 distinct modes, with each mode corresponding to one of the ship's physical sensor arrays. Let's begin by taking a look at the Galactic Position mode, which ties into the X-ray Pulsar-based Navigation and Timing Array, or XNAV for short. This array tracks the location and timing of known pulsars to accurately derive the ship's position relative to the galactic core.
Interesting.
We can also reference that same catalogue of known stellar objects to obtain a high-level overview of each galactic sector. The default sector target always aligns with our ship's current local sector. However, by using the controls below, we can actually target any sector of space, anywhere in the galaxy, or even beyond. Go ahead and press the Target Select button to switch from our local sector to a manually targeted one. You'll notice that the sector information has now updated to reflect the change of sector target. While this is only a high-level overview of a given sector, the data can still be useful when deciding where to explore next. And then finally, we have some simple display controls for refining your view of the galactic map. Have a go at targeting a few different sectors yourself, and then press the long range button when you're ready to continue. The long-range mode employs the ship's Space-Time Curvature Mass Inferencer, or SCMI array for short. As the name suggests, the SCMI array infers the location and mass of celestial objects by detecting localized changes in the curvature of spacetime. While operating in passive mode, the array detects the largest sources of space-time curvature within a 50 light-year radius of the target location.
Basically, it's
Typically, these will be star
gravity
systems,
wells.
but the array is also capable of detecting much smaller objects within a few light-years, such as rogue planets. And as with the XNAV array, the default target location is the ship's current galactic coordinates. This will update automatically and refresh the target list as you travel across the galaxy, but you can toggle that behavior on and off using the Auto Refresh button. And again, we can also manually target any sector of space in an effort to find distant targets of interest. Just be aware that the SCNL array has a maximum active range of 2,000 light-years, beyond which it can only resolve the most massive of objects. And on the subject of active scans, let's take a more detailed look at a nearby star system. Go ahead and select the Alpha Centauri system, our closest stellar neighbor. A basic overview of that system is generated on the right-hand side, and the displayed information will expand over time as more detailed scans are performed. Now go ahead and click the Align to Target button to focus the SCMI array on this specific location in space. We are now presented with a more detailed view of the targeted location. However, you'll notice that it's only showing the passively acquired data. Let's fill in the blanks by performing a long-range survey.
Initiating
The SCMI
long-range
array
survey.
is now actively scaling the target location for point-like increases in the curvature of spacetime. By employing Einstein's field equations, the system can derive the amount of mass required to cause the observed increase in curvature. Then, once the mass is known, we can determine roughly what class of object we are observing, be it a rocky planet or a gas giant. Okay,
Long-range
there we go.
survey complete.
We now have a much more accurate picture of this star system. Go ahead and select any of the objects in the target list. You'll find that we now have more detailed information available to us on the right-hand UI panel. You will also notice that the data is split into distinct knowledge levels, and with our long-range survey, we have unlocked knowledge level 1. This is also indicated on each target entry by way of a single green pip. The goal here is to find rocky worlds within a star's habitable zone, which is our primary target of scientific interest. We can then navigate the ship to that location in order to perform more detailed scans, ultimately increasing our knowledge level for any given object.
Yes.
Typically, we'd perform numerous surveys on many different star systems before plotting a course, but for now, let's pick a target in this system. Go ahead and select any planet that appeals to you from the list, and then select the Send to Helm button. This makes the planet's coordinates available to the Helm station, so let's head over and take a look at that console now.
Yeah.
We'll begin by taking a quick look at the various screens available to the Helm. The left-hand display is dedicated to navigation and shows both the ship's current galactic position along with its target estimation coordinates. The central display deals with the flight controls themselves, including the FTL system, sublight engines, and the reaction control thrusters. The right-hand screen features the autopilot controls, toggles for the 3D target indicators, and the ship's navigation lights.
Simplistic,
Okay, let's
but-
retrieve the target information from the sensors by pressing the Use Sensor Target button on the navigation panel. Your target's coordinates should now be displayed in this box, which represents your current nav target.
Mhm.
The galactic coordinates represent the target's position in the galaxy to the nearest whole light year. The coordinates are relative to the center of our galaxy, the supermassive black hole known as Sagittarius A star. The local coordinates represent the target's position within a star system. The coordinates are relative to the system's center of gravity, which is usually a star, or the barycenter in multi-star systems. While it is possible to fly the ship manually to any location in the galaxy, let's engage the autopilot for now so that I can take care of that for you. Go ahead and press the highlighting button on the right. The ship
Okay.
will now automatically turn to face the current nav target, but you will need to manually engage the FTL system in order for us to get underway. You may now engage the FTL system when you are ready.
Okay. let's
While the
go.
autopunt is engaged, I will manage the ship's speed and final approach to the tiny coordinates, so just sit back and enjoy the ride. The FTL system works by compressing space ahead of the ship and then expanding it behind, creating a bubble of warped space with the ship occupying a region of flat space-time at its center.
Yeah, that's...
The FTL
that
field
is scientific
massively
theory.
amplifies the ship's current velocity by a factor of the field strength, along the direction of the field's forward vector. This means the FTL field does not physically move the ship, it instead relies on the thrust provided by the ship's sublight engines. The maximum speed of the ship is therefore a combination of the FTL field strength and the thrust output of the sublight engines. For the Magellan class, this is approximately 300 light-years per hour. Even so, the Milky Way is a vast and mysterious place, and even at our top speed, it will still take over 2 full weeks to fly from one side of the galaxy to the other. It looks like we're not far from our destination now, so enjoy the view while I handle the final approach.
Yeah, what I want to do, let's have a look at the key mappings, because you can't actually get camera mode, so that is C. Yep, that's a starship. Oh, that is cool. You notice how it's dark? I reckon that this will light up once we get to the system, because obviously the sun there will provide a source of light. Yeah, there we go. That is cool. See, starships will not all be illuminated all the time without a light source. So they've got the light source is good. That's really good. Okay. Okay. Now what? So keyboard control.
Okay, here we are. You are now looking at an entirely new world, bathed in the light of another star. At this distance, our home is now just another point of light in the vast darkness of space. Does life exist here?
Cool.
What new things can we discover on this world? These are the
I don't know
questions
why
that
he's
this
not
ship
got
was
any clothes
designed
on.
to answer.
Don't know why he's not got any clothes
Let's
on
head back
for.
to the sensor station and we'll see if we can answer some of those questions now.
Okay. So we need this one here. We need to spacebar to get up.
With our ship having arrived at our target star system, we can now employ the medium-range sensors to broaden our general knowledge of this location. Go ahead and press that button now. The medium-range sensors employ multiple modules that are combined into a single array, known as the Multi-Band Interferometric Spectrometer, or MBIS for short. This array has the resolution to perform detailed scans of any object larger than a few dozen kilometers, with its range covering an entire star system. Operationally, we perform a medium-range survey as a matter of course when entering any new star system. This elevates us to knowledge level 2 for all objects in range. Let's do that now. Go ahead and initiate the survey. Just as with the long-range survey, the MBIS array works outward from the central star, targeting each detective object in turn. It uses a combination of interferometry and spectroscopy to determine the precise nature and class of all system objects, including their atmospheric composition. Okay, let's wait for the survey to complete.
Okay. So,
There we go. You'll notice that we are now showing 2 green pips on each of the objects in this system. And on the right-hand side, you'll find that we have now generated the Knowledge Level 2 data. At this point, we've performed enough analysis to determine the true nature of each planet, and more importantly, whether or not we've discovered an Earth analogue. But what about life, or signs of civilization, past or present? For that, we're going to need a short-range scan. Go ahead and... The short-range sensors employ the Synthetic Aperture Terahertz Imaging Radar, or the SATIA array for short. This device fields a high-resolution Vloxenized tomographic image of its target, and then performs detailed spectral analysis on each individual data point. With this technology, we can determine the presence of life, identify artificial structures, and even conduct metallurgical analysis. Let's perform a scan of this planet now and see what details we can reveal. Begin by... And now initiate the short-range scan.
Okay. I do like this level of in-depth.
Great. You'll notice that we have now generated Knowledge Level 3 data for this planet, which covers all of its surface details. Any given star system is considered to be fully explored once all of its planets are scanned to Knowledge Level 3. Okay, let's take a look at those surface details. Go ahead and press the Surface Map button.
Okay.
From here, we can enable or disable various data overlays depending on our current area of scientific interest. The first overlay is fairly self-explanatory. It simply displays the planet's cloud layers. The next overlay shows the planet's lit and unlit regions. This button highlights any tech signatures on the planet's surface, be that current or historical technology. And then we have life signatures, which can be anything from simple bacteria to complex life forms. You are now armed with the knowledge and skill required to head out into the unknown depths of our galaxy, to conduct scientific research and discover its mysteries. This ship and her crew are tasked with exploring distant worlds, seeking out new life in all of its diversity, and making peaceful first contact with any intelligent species that we might encounter along the way.
Yeah. So
This concludes the Scanning and Navigation Training module. You are free to continue exploring if you wish, but please be aware that your progress will not be saved. Thank you, and goodbye.
basically, yeah, this game has a lot of influence from the Star Trek universe in it, that's for sure. With the way it's laid out, and because a real bridge would not waste this much space on things. So while I do appreciate the kind of aesthetic that comes from trying to emulate the Star Trek universe, I would like a little bit more realism when it comes to the actual the actual way things are laid out. See, work in progress, that's good. Armory, so that means away missions. Conference room, probably have conferences with that. What's this one? There's the XO's office. With a flower plot on the floor for some reason. Let's see, what does this say? This is... No, it doesn't say what this area is. Again, it's... The kind of level of detail I'm talking about is the kind from... Can you actually... I don't think you can actually play pool, can you? No, uh-oh. Yeah, you can actually pick stuff up, that's good. Oh, where's it gone? There we go. So... I'd imagine... Oh, you can... So that's obviously for... Anyway, yeah. I mean, this is obviously kind of a recreational room, but having this kind of access to another work in progress, distribution, VIP lounge. Yep. This is obviously a gallery. Yep, so these are obviously replicators. Oh, that is cool. It is good. Okay. Right, what's in the other room over here? Let's have a look. Just storage by the looks of it. Bathroom. Again, work in progress. I mean, just to reiterate, this again is a pre-alpha build. It clearly states, and this is the demo version. So, kitchen, galley, storage, stateroom, stateroom, stateroom. So these are obviously the guest quarters. And security. Even with the guest quarters, would you really have access to the bridge in that level? The guest quarters would be, because the bridge is the critical section of the ship. Now this looks like a fun area for someone like me. Science labs, data centers, astronomy. So yeah, they are trying to... They are trying to replicate the spare. Oh, wow. They are putting thought into this, obviously. Cool. Well, I don't think there's anything else really to see, but this is a game that I'm going to be sticking on my wish list because I want to see how it comes out when it comes out in alpha, and then obviously from alpha to probe handling facilities. If they actually manage to get off the ground, there seems to be a lot of development already gone into this to get it to where it is at the moment. Crew cabins. I don't know what they are. I think that could be a door thing. Tape measure. Even the little touches showing that they are obviously working on them. Alright, so what's this bit down here? I'm curious to see. Oh, well, they blocked it off, so that's fine. So, crew, the park. The shuttle bay. Let's go and have a look at the shuttle bay, shall we? I think we're going towards the shuttle bay. Oh, no. Blocked off. Okay. Excuse me. Alright, let's go downstairs. To the next level, see what's on the next level. It is crew lower, so obviously more crew quarters. Now engineering. you can call a lift, I think. No. Okay. So basically the whole engineering section is a battery. An upstairs, downstairs battery. So we're in the engine room now. So obviously they've gone with a more scientifically theorized fusion reactor instead of like an antimatter reactor that does obviously appear in the Starship universe. Life support, engineering, cryogenic storage workshops. Okay, so yeah, the game itself, initially, even though this is just a demo, this is actually something I would have loved to try and develop. I was thinking about trying to develop this years ago, decades ago, once 3D models started coming out. I remember buying on QVC at the time, like a set of blueprints for the Enterprise. I'm thinking, you know what, it'd be cool if we could actually make a model where you can walk around and do things like that. And it looks like this is what this is. It's obviously not within the Star Trek universe, but it does, again, it does have a lot of influence from that universe. So I'm looking forward to seeing this game when it comes out in alpha, and then hopefully when it comes out in the end to see just how far they go with this, just to see what they can do. So I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. If you do like my content, please do like and subscribe. I am streaming on Twitch. Hoping to start multicasting onto Kick, Rumble, and YouTube. Soon, hopefully, I will be uploading this video to YouTube and Rumble as well. So until next time, enjoy the video, and we'll see you on the next one.